Curious George builds a home. This is an adventure with the beloved Curious George, the monkey who lives with the man with the yellow hat. In this adventure, our hero meets a bird with an ankle tack. The man with the yellow hat tells George that the bird is a special kind of bird. It's a homing pigeon, a bird that will always return home. George decides he will build a home for the bird close to him. We learn about designing and planning a home for the bird through various unsuccessful attempts. Finally, after doing some research, George is successful in building a new home for the bird. This is a wonderful book to spark curiosity and observation skills amongst our young ones. They can easily watch through the windows and observe the wildlife in the neighborhood. They could draw a home for the squirrel that runs around, or build a nest with Lego for a bird they see. I picked this book because Curious George was a favorite character of my children when they were younger. The illustrations of this picture book are bright and lively and will keep your reader's attention. I also picked this particular version because it is one of Hoopla's read-along ebooks. What does that mean? A read-along gives you the option of having the book be read to you. Once you click on the button, Read, you will see a volume icon up in the right-hand corner. Once you click on that button, you can choose to play the read-along recording. It is a nice feature because it highlights each word as they are being read. It will help your young one be able to identify words. Here is some interesting trivia about Curious George that I thought I'd throw in. Did you know that a husband and wife co-created George? Hans Augusto Rey started drawing at age 2. He also fought during World War I. He met Margaret through friends. For a time, he was selling bathtubs, and she was studying art. Once married, they started working in Paris, France, and that was where George first appeared in print. H.A. Rey wasn't just fascinated with animals. He also loved the stars. In the First World War, he would spend the long nights gazing at the stars and referring to his astronomy books. He eventually wrote his own book called The Stars. He also taught a free course on constellations at the American Museum of Natural History. And did you ever hear the story about their legendary escape from Paris during World War II? As the Nazis stormed the city, they escaped Paris on bicycles one rainy morning in June of 1940. The city trains had stopped running. Bike shops were sold out. So Hans bought spare parts and built 2 bikes. Strapped to the back of their bike racks were their manuscripts, which included a draft of their very first book, Curious George. Abandoning their bikes at the French-Spanish border, the Reys hopped to train to Lisbon. By October of that same year, they arrived in New York, intent on selling their stories. And how long do you think it would take to write one of these stories? Margaret had said that each story took a year to plan out. Initially, H.A. would draw the illustrations, and Margaret would write the stories. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about Curious George, and I hope that you do explore all that Hoopla has to offer you. Thank you for listening.